Man, I hope everyone is calmed down after last night's chaotic race with so much drama. Some conflict, some tension, tempers were flaring. I hope everyone's calmed down. Let's be honest, no one has calmed down since last night. People are still on social media they're making their points heard, and they are throwing insults at each other. Drivers were throwing insults at each other. I'm sure the teams behind the scenes were throwing insults at each other. It's still heated. I guess it's been less than 24 hours, so emotions are still kind of there. But, woo! Was last night's race crazy. The Bristol night race always produces a great race, always has great chaos, great drama, and we saw more last night with Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick. We are going to look at the incident today, the incident that cut down Chase Elliott's left front tire, and then we're also going to look at the post-race, both the comments made by the drivers and then, of course, the confrontation itself. So, let's talk about it. So, late in this race yesterday, Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick, who had both clinched their spots in the round of 12 early in this race by getting enough stage points, enough people not finishing the race due to problems, so they had already clinched their spots in the next round, so they could have theoretically wrecked each other and finished 30th and 31st, and they both would have still made it. So the playoffs were not a concern for this one in terms of advancing. They were already advanced, but it's still a win in the NASCAR Cup Series, and it's a win in the Bristol Night Race. The Bristol Night Race is considered a crown jewel in NASCAR by many. Kevin Harvick, his last win in the NASCAR Cup Series was this race last year. Remember, last year he had 9 wins. He won a quarter of the 2020 season, but this year he is yet to win, and that looked like his best opportunity last night. Chase Elliott, the defending champion of NASCAR, he was looking for his first win on an oval in 2021, looking for his first points-paying win at Bristol. He won the Bristol All-Star race in 2020. So both these guys fighting really hard for the win, and they make contact. It ruins Chase Elliott's race, and then Chase Elliott comes back out and costs Kevin Harvick the win. So let's talk about it. Let's look at this incident first between Harvick and Elliott, fighting hard for the lead, and honestly, Harvick had the better car. If we look at how good Harvick was doing last night, late in that run, he had the better car than Chase Elliott, and Chase Elliott most likely knew it. Harvick definitely knew it. I knew it. So Elliott was fighting as hard as he could. There was 35 laps to go, and at Bristol, that goes very quickly. So Elliott knew that if Harvick got by him, it could be over for Elliott. His chances of winning would probably lean on a caution after that. So Elliott knew that Harvick was better, so he was doing everything he could to hold him off. Harvick knew he was better, so he was patiently trying to get past him. Finally, the opportunity presented itself for Kevin Harvick to pass Chase Elliott. Elliott had been doing a really good job on the top. Harvick was doing a good job holding the bottom. Larson was starting to close in, though, and Harvick saw his opportunity. A lap car was coming up. Obviously, lap cars usually move out of the way, but when the leaders are side by side, it's kind of hard to get completely out of the way. And so usually what we see, especially at a track like Bristol, is one of the leaders will try to pin his opponent behind the lapped car. Now, the lap car can't do anything about it. This is a very smart move by, in this instance, Kevin Harvick. As I said, it's used a lot, and it's very smart, using them as a pick, basically. And there is nothing wrong with this move. It's 100% fine. It's 100% clean to me. We see it all the time. I have no issue with this. So, Harvick pins Elliott behind the lapped car, and then we get into turns 3 and 4, and this is where it happens. Elliott forces the gap between the lap car and Kevin Harvick, and then they go into turns 3 and 4. Elliott tries to pinch him down just a bit, and then Harvick runs up the racetrack just a bit, makes contact with Chase Elliott. Elliott goes way up the track with Harvick. Elliott ends up getting a flat tire from the contact with Kevin Harvick, has to pit, ends up going multiple laps down. So this first incident, it was like a lighter version of what happened between Elliott and Logano last year at Bristol. Remember, Elliott, with about 2 laps to go, sent it into turns 3 and 4 against Joey Logano, lost control of his race car and wiped both him and Logano out of the race. Neither of them won. Neither of them finished in the top 10. They both finished 20th and 21st or something. They finished awful because of that. But very similar to that, but not as much carnage. Harvick was able to keep it under control. He didn't hit the wall. Elliott didn't hit the wall, but Elliott did get a flat tire as a result, ruining his chances at a win. At Bristol, if you have to pit during a green flag, then you're going to go multiple laps down, and it basically ruins your race, and that's what happened to Chase Elliott here. And Harvick was able to continue on. So that's just Bristol. That incident right there, that's just Bristol. That's short track racing, as Denny Hamlin would say, as he mimics Joey Logano. But it really is just Bristol. It's how Bristol races. You're going to try to pin someone behind a lapped car. You're both going to go into a corner deep. Contact is made at short tracks. You know, there's always the bump and run that's always happened at Bristol, whether it's Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace, or, you know, it's Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson. We are going to see the bump and run at Bristol again at some point. I can guarantee you that. So it happened. Contact happens in NASCAR. Contact happens at these short tracks. And this is no exception. It was not too dirty on Kevin Harvick's part. Heck, I wouldn't even say it was dirty at all. I'm telling you, it's just two guys fighting really hard for a win. That's what it was. But I understand why Chase Elliott's mad. I fully understand it. Elliott was looking for a win. He had one of the best cars last night, and his chances of winning went away like that, just from a simple touch of doors. I mean, so I think Elliott has a right to be mad, at Kevin Harvick. Harvick was the one that kind of forced him up the track. Harvick, I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was bad. That was 100% a racing incident. No one is at fault there. There is no bad intention there. There's nothing bad there. That's just Bristol. That's just short track racing. That is pure Bristol right there. There's nothing either of them could have done there. But at the same time, I fully understand why Chase Elliott's upset. He saw in that moment that his chance at a win was taken away. He has to pit for a flat tire. So I understand why he's upset. Now let's go to the retaliation. Now, obviously, we've seen retaliation in NASCAR before, and it was nowhere near to as bad as it could have been. It was no Matt Kenseth, Joey Logano, Jeff Gordon, Clint Boyer. It was nowhere near that. But it is something that we have seen in the past year or so, actually. Remember, in 2020, Chase Elliott, after he wrecked Joey Logano at Bristol, the next week at Homestead, Chase Elliott was leading, and Joey Logano, you know what he did? He blocked Chase Elliott when Chase Elliott was trying to lap him. Denny Hamlin got around both Elliott and Logano and went on to win the race. So he cost Elliott the win at Homestead last year. And of course, Elliott still finished second. There was nothing absurd about it. Logano didn't push him into the wall. He didn't, wreck him or anything. But he held him up and cost him a win. And to me, that was getting even. Elliott ruined Logano's chances at a win at Bristol, and so Logano returned the favor, and he ruined Elliott's chances at a win at Homestead. I think that's very good payback. You don't have to do anything, crazy, anything violent, anything horrific, like intentionally wrecking someone, and Logano's been on the receiving end of being intentionally wrecked, so he knows how it feels. So that was a very clean way to get back at someone, and I like that. I'm a Chase Elliott fan, but I was like, you know what? Well played, Logano, and that was deserved for Chase Elliott. So we have seen that in the past, and then we saw it last year at Bristol. Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, they didn't have any run-ins last year, but they don't like each other. In fact, in 2017, Kyle Busch, after spinning on the last lap due to Joey Logano, he didn't try to talk to Joey Logano after the race at Las Vegas. He went up and he swung. He missed, but he swung. There ended up being a big brawl after it. But those two do not like each other. And in the Bristol night race last year, you know what happened when Kyle Busch was trying to lap Joey Logano? Joey Logano held him up. And you know who ended up winning that race because Joey Logano was holding up Kyle Busch? That's right. Kevin Harvick ended up winning that race. He was able to pass Kyle Busch late in the race thanks to Joey Logano and his antics, I guess you could say. We have seen that in a few instances in the past year. So the Chase Elliott, Joey Logano situation, I saw nothing wrong with it. The Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, we talked about that last year. So let's just not get back into it. We are here to focus on the Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott thing. Elliott comes out of pit road, and he door slams Harvick, straight out of the pits. gets up to speed, diamonds the next corner, he's on fresher tires, and he just comes up and he hits Harvick in the door. I think he was trying to replicate what he did at Phoenix in 2017 with Denny Hamlin. Remember the whole Elliott-Hamlin saga when Hamlin dumped Elliott at Martinsville. Elliott comes back at Phoenix, cuts Hamlin's tire by pinching him into the wall. Hamlin's chances at the championship are over. So I think he was trying to replicate that. I don't know. I wasn't in the car. I wasn't under the helmet. So I don't know if that's what he was trying to do. But he was trying to basically cut Harvick's tire too, like Harvick did to him. And I wasn't a fan of that. Chase Elliott, you know what you got to do here. You don't take him out. You don't cut his tire. That's a little... Don't do that. Harvick ended up being fine. But what Elliott did after that, I thought that was fair play. Elliott held up Harvick. He could have gone and he could have unlapped himself and went and passed some more cars, but he was already in on points. There's no point of finishing 21st when you're 25th. So Elliott just kind of looked in his mirrors, looked at Harvick, and after the race, he made the stupidest comment. He said, "I was just running my line." No, you knew what you were doing. You weren't running your line. And it was fair. I think it was fair for Chase Elliott to hold up Kevin Harvick so that his teammate could pass him. One, you're helping a teammate. Two, you're hurting the guy who just cost you a shot at the win, and you cost him a shot at the win. I think that's even. Just like the Joey Logano-Chase Elliott thing that I referenced earlier, I think they're even now. I don't think this should go any further. Will it? I don't know. But, yeah, I think that was a good kind of way of revenge for Chase Elliott. I didn't like the door slam, but I thought holding him up was a perfect way to do it. Just hold up your opponent. He still finished second. You know, obviously Kevin Harvick, he hasn't won all year long. He wants to win this year, obviously, but he's been frustrated. You know, he hasn't had a terrible year. Everyone's like, Harvick's been so off. I think he has the third most top 10s in Cup. So he's just not winning. He's still doing really good. He's been consistent. He just isn't winning. So Harvick's probably frustrated that he isn't winning. And, you know, I'm sure last night that was his best opportunity as of now in 2021 to get a win. And, you know, they had it taken away from him. So Harvick, you know, I think he's understandably mad that he just got his shot at a win taken away because in his mind, he was racing Chase Elliott hard for the win with about 35 to go. And that's when the whole tire went down for Elliott and stuff. And that's just hard racing. I'm sure in his head, he's like, oh, we're racing for the win. You know, it's understandable. So when Elliott holds him up, he's understandably pissed at the moment. But I think if he goes back and looks at it, he'll say, okay, he has a right to be mad in that moment. I still don't. He may not agree with it. But, yeah, so I thought that was fine, what Elliott did after the door slam. I think that holding him up, costing him the win. He didn't have to take him out. He didn't have to slam him into the wall. He didn't have to cut his tire. He tried to cut his tire, which, once again, I did not like. But I thought that was fine. Harvick did nothing wrong in part one. Elliott, when he was holding him up, minus the whole door slam, he did nothing wrong there. I thought they were even after that. So where does that lead us? The incident on pit road. So the incident, like yeah. Anyways, let's go look at this. Let's see what happened in the pits. Man, oh man, I've talked about this in the past. I don't like when crew guys get involved in the driver's scuffles and stuff, and it happened again last night. Look, when drivers go at it, it's epic, it's awesome, it makes for a great highlight reel, and we haven't gotten a chance to see that in the past few years because, frankly, every time two guys pull on the pit road, their pit crews are there immediately. They had a couple seconds to talk right when they approached each other, right when they got onto pit road and got out of their cars. They were able to approach each other, talk to each other in the face. Elliott was touching Kevin Harvick's helmet. By the way, people are saying, oh, he's so smart wearing his helmet. Chase Elliott would break his hand if he punched him. Dude, if you're going to fight someone, like fist fight someone, and you wear a helmet and you see the other guy without a helmet, no, you lose a ton of respect points for that. Like, Kevin Harvick, take off your freaking helmet. If you're going to go and fight this guy, get up in his face, take off your helmet. I don't care if it's the other way around. If it's Chase Elliott with his helmet on, with Kevin Harvick without it. I don't care if it's freaking Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano. One of them's got their helmets on, one of them doesn't. Take off your helmet if you're going to fight someone. Like, this is what made me the most mad. Kevin Harvick, after the race, he made some comments. Kevin Harvick's allowed to be mad. He can say what he wants. The United States of America. But he starts calling Chase Elliott, like, he called that holding him up for the lead. He called it a chicken bleep move. And I was like, Kevin, do we need to go through your history, buddy? You are not allowed to call people, especially that. You are not allowed to call that a chicken bleep move. You wrecked the whole field at Talladega once to stay in the playoffs. That's the definition of a chicken bleep move. Let's see. Yeah, you approached your opponent here, your rival, with your helmet on. That, I'm hesitant to call that, but that's more than what happened on track. So Kevin Harvick, look, you're a champion. You're a first ballot Hall of Famer. You've done so much in your career, but that was a stupid comment. I did not like that comment at all last night. In fact, I got a Jersey Mike sandwich just because of that comment today. Yeah, because he's sponsored by Subway now. But, like, I respect the heck out of Harvick. He's a tremendous race car driver. He is a Hall of Famer, as I said. He's been screwed out of championships in this format, but he did nothing wrong last night on the track. That was racing. But the post-race comments, they were stupid. Both of them made stupid comments. I thought what Elliott said about just holding his line, that was stupid because you weren't holding your line. Elliott also was, he said something. What did I else? He was talking about how Harvick's done this on multiple instances. I can't really remember it. I thought he was referencing Bristol in 2017 when Harvick accidentally wrecked him, but I don't know. I thought that was a bit of a dumb comment by Elliott. And then Harvick goes on calling Elliott saying that he makes a chicken bleep move, and then he's going on and saying he threw a temper tantrum while, like, Kevin Harvick's literally throwing a temper tantrum, talking about a guy throwing a temper tantrum. You guys are about to say I'm a guy throwing a temper tantrum, talking about a guy throwing a temper tantrum, saying a guy's throwing a temper tantrum. You get the point. But I didn't like Kevin Harvick's post-race comments. I thought they were absurd. I thought they were stupid. Like Kevin, I just didn't like it. Straight up. I thought they were dumb comments. The whole temper tantrum thing that he kept mentioning. Like, Kevin, this is the guy, like, that he's been in some altercations before, but I just didn't like the way Kevin Harvick handled himself post-race. The confrontation was fine, other than the helmet. I thought that was fine. I mean, if you look at it, they talked to each other. It was a civil conversation for the first few seconds, but then when people... I hate when crew guys get in there, when officials, they're talking civilly. They're not pushing each other. They're not shoving. They're pointing at each other. They're hitting each other in the chest a bit. There's no fighting. There's no punching. There's no throat grabbing. There's nothing aggressive about it. But for some reason, one of Harvick's crew guys gets in there. One of Elliott's crew guys gets in there. And then Harvick's PR guy starts yelling at Elliott. And so they escalated it. It was fine until the crews got in there. They escalated that. Elliott and Harvick are having a nice discussion. Sure, they're doing some light pushing, but then all of a sudden, like, Harvick's PR guy was like, he was the stupidest one out of all of this. I think he pushed Elliott at one point, but there was no point to get in there. They weren't doing anything violent yet. They weren't trying to kill each other yet. There was no point of getting in there, and that's what escalated it. When guys get in there and start to push and shove, and then you're not allowing the drivers to talk. That's what pisses people off. That's what happened with Gordon and Keselowski. Speaking of chicken-ass moves, Harvick shoved Brad Keselowski into a fight in 2014 with Texas. Kevin Harvick, once again, you are not allowed to say that when we've got 3 examples. But yeah, like, the crews escalated, and I think if there's a fight, you get all the officials around 2 cars, you make a circle. You put them in the little circle. You let them talk. If they want to fight it out, let them fight it out until someone hits the floor and then get in there and separate them. Kind of like an octagon, I guess, like the UFCs. But yeah, it makes me so mad to see the crews get in there. I get it. You want to defend your driver. You're trying to defend your team, and your team got screwed, and you're trying to protect your team, stand up for your team, but let the drivers handle it first, and then if something happens, they start fighting, one of them hits the floor, then yeah, go at it, brawl, punch each other. Okay, that's too far, not really, but I didn't like the way the officials, the crew guys, even the PR guys, I didn't like the way they handled that at the end. But yeah, so I guess to wrap this up, Harvick did nothing wrong on track. That's just short track racing, that's Bristol. But Elliott had a reason to be mad. His chance at a win was taken away. Understandable reason to get mad. Going down the line, yeah, Elliott, I didn't like the door slam. I thought that was unnecessary, trying to cut down his tire. But holding him up and costing him the win, perfectly fine. They're even. As for the pit road incident, Kevin Harvick, take off your freaking helmet. Yeah, if you're going to go up, get in someone's face, take off your helmet, please. Just... And as for the post-race comments, both Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick were equally stupid in what they said after the race. Elliott accusing Harvick of doing this multiple times when I can't think of a single time Harvick sent it to Elliott. And then Elliott saying that, hey, I was just holding my line, when he clearly was not holding his line. And then Harvick calling it a chicken-ass move when there are multiple instances of him doing much worse things that are much chickenier, if that's a word. And then, of course, you know, the crews. Get out of it. We've discussed this before. The crews have got to get out of these stupid situations. It's absurd. It could have been an epic fight, but nope. We got big old pit crew members, big old officials that have to get in there. They have to start separating them when they haven't even started punching each other or getting each other in headlocks. They were talking. And then afterwards, actually, they talked again, and it was a very civil conversation. So much respect to both drivers for approaching each other again and, you know, not trying to, you know, punch each other in the throat. But, yeah, very civil conversation. One of the reporters was trying to record the conversation. You're in public ground, and Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott were getting pissed off at this reporter. Like, stop recording. Like, dude, if you don't want them to record it, like, go somewhere private. And so they eventually did, but I just found it hilarious because in the background you can see him, and like Harvick's like, put your phone down. He's like, okay. Puts it down, and then the instant Harvick turns away, he pulls his phone back out. I thought that was hilarious. But, yeah, I love making these videos, these Where Do I Stand videos, because I love conflict. I love confrontation in NASCAR, but when are we going to get, like, a fight? I want, like, a real fight, not a brawl like the pit crews like Gordon Keselowski. I want, like, a one-on-one, like, let's duke it out right here, right now, like, you know, I don't want anyone getting knocked out, teeth bloody, concussions, but, you know, like, I want to fight. I want to fight. But, yeah, last night's race was really fun. Both those guys made it to the round of 12, so neither of them won, which was even funnier. But, yeah, that was probably Kyle Larson's, like, only win that he wasn't the main headline for, because I feel like every win he wins, like, just nothing else happens. But then, like, finally he wins a race and something else happens. So, dude, that was such a fun race last night. I can't get over it. I was up till, like, 3 a.m. because I was so pumped up from that race. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who did you think was at fault? Did you think both of them were babies? Did you think both of them were right in their words or in their actions? So just let me know in the comments what you thought. Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great rest of your day. I guess we got some more videos this week. Some championship series videos. And then just some other random stuff. But I love NASCAR. Round of 12, here we come.